Hey, everybody. So if you have been hanging out with us for the last couple seasons of the podcast, you probably remember us mentioning Flaututi in our past episodes. Our friend Molly Sharp, who incidentally was also a guest in season 1, started Flaututi to share her awesome duet arrangements of standard viola rep, which are great for teaching, and it has now grown into a wide-ranging catalog of one-of-a-kind resources for violists and beyond. Steph, do you remember when we played one of the duets from a holiday bundle together?
Yes, it's one of my most cherished holiday memories.
Aww.
But actually, one of my favorites is something that all string instrumentalists would love. It's called Making Double Stops Ring, a guided exploration of just intonation. And Molly actually shared the viola version with us last year, and I am not exaggerating when I say that it completely changed the way I think about intonation. No one has ever explained it to me like this before. I think that we all realize on some level that a B in all situations is not the same, but why?
Yeah. Have you ever had that classic argument in a string quartet setting when you're trying to tune a chord and maybe we're playing that B and we're being told, no, it needs to go lower. No, it needs to go higher. It needs to go here. Wouldn't it be amazing to save all those hours for our string quartet students with no debate? We just know where it's supposed to go. Everyone agrees because there's only one way.
Right. You can just gift them copies of this book.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing personal. Just here's a book about intonation. Well, Molly has made it easy for all of us to play in tune. So whether you play viola, violin, cello, or bass, there's a version for you. You can find this pragmatic book, viola duet arrangements of classic viola repertoire, and so much more at vlatutti.com under Marketplace, or look in this episode's show notes.
Welcome to the Viola-centric podcast. We are two curious violists finding inspiration through authentic and challenging conversations in the professional music world. I'm Liz.
And I'm Steph. Let's jump in the deep end.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. And we're back.
Yes. Yes, we are, aren't we, friend? Only 2 more episodes of
this one and one more.
Yep.
Yeah, 10 episodes.
It's ramping up.
This is getting interesting.
This was a spicy episode.
It was. There's lots going on. So this one is called Now Fortissimo, which I really didn't hear in the episode. Did you hear that?
No. I wonder if it's just like we're reaching a climactic point.
Yes. Okay. Pet peeve of mine. When people say reaching a crescendo.
Ah, me too.
Oh my gosh.
No, the crescendo is the build up. It's not a pivot point. Oh my God, me too.
I think they're just trying to avoid saying climax.
Yes, I think so.
Like reaching a climax.
But you know.
But it is not a crescendo. You don't reach a crescendo.
Yeah.
Perform a crescendo.
Yeah. Beloved non-musicians who may be listening, you don't reach a crescendo. Even if you hear it on national coverage of something. I hear it in sports a lot.
Yes.
Like they've reached a crescendo. I'm like, no, you haven't.
No.
There's no such thing as reaching a crescendo.
Yeah. So pull out your thesaurus and find another synonym.
If you don't like the word climax, use another one.
Come on. Apex.
Yes.
Height.
Yes. Peak.
Peak. Yes.
Yeah.
There's so many.
So many.
Don't use our words and then use them incorrectly.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry to be gatekeeping our terminology, but
that's okay. That's what we're here to do. Well, we start with a pretty peak moment.
Yes. So we see Anna Maria.
She's back.
I wrote Anna Maria Oakley, like Annie Oakley. So she pulls out these revolvers. She's in a park somewhere. She's giving a art performance. And she takes these 2 revolvers and she blindly just shoots into a sheet that has a treble clef staff on it. So she's just randomly making a melody, I guess.
But she hits the sheet of paper every time.
Yeah, so she's that good.
She doesn't miss the paper. She just hits it in random places to make some music.
Right. So she makes some sheet music randomly, and then she picks up her violin left-handed and fake plays the melody.
Yeah.
And it's very cringeworthy.
Yeah, her left-handed playing, which we thought might be just performance art the first time around, is not. She's a left-handed violinist.
Yeah, I want to see her play the Sibelius left-handed.
I think
it's hard to play right-handed. You guys.
Oh, what if she switches? Like, what if it's part of her? And, I'm getting ahead of myself. I will save that thought for the end.
Okay.
By the way, I apologize in advance, listeners, if you hear the lawn noises going on in the background. It's landscaping day, so
this is real life.
Yeah, trying to recording IRL, trying to mitigate the noise, but sometimes it just happens. So she shoots these guns, and eventually the cops come because they're somewhere they're not supposed to be. And pre-pandemic, all of her fans are like wearing masks around their faces, I assume, to protect their identities.
Yeah.
So they can scatter. But, as she's like firing them up and the cops are coming, you see that her boob popped out of her shirt.
I did not see that. I need to go back
full
and
boob.
watch.
Yep.
I missed
full
it.
Boob alert.
How did I miss that? Oh my gosh. Okay, so...
Yeah, that's where we leave her.
Yeah, so we leave her there.
Half topless.
I guess so. I'm going to have to go back and inspect that.
Yeah.
Well, Rodrigo has found the video of this this performance online, and he's watching it, and he's just totally enamored. And she's his like white whale, right? She's like his elusive goal.
Yeah, I think he seems to want to connect with whatever craziness exists in her, but it's like unattainable for anybody else. It's just like her own brand of crazy, but he's like very codependent on it or something. It's an interesting dynamic that gets explored throughout the episode, I think.
I think he's got an anxious attachment style.
Oh yeah, and she's like the epitome of avoidant.
Avoidant. Yes. Yes. So she, yeah.
So we pan over to, then we're with Hailey and Betty in the lesson.
What kind of torture is, so Hailey is having a lesson with Betty.
Yeah.
And I'm convinced that this is hazing, because this is another question for our oboe guest that we're going to have on, our double reed guest that we're going to have on later.
Yes.
Okay. So we see her, number one, has her fingers in a ice bath.
So ridiculous.
And she's wearing a corset, which Betty is like
squeezing very tightly,
jacking up. Mm-hmm. So she is absolutely like can't breathe.
Yeah, just like that scene in Titanic when Rose is getting corseted and her mom's explaining all the constricts. Like, what is this? This is insane.
Yeah. This is hazing for sure.
So ridiculous. And then so somehow it's like fixing her vibrato by doing that.
I am dubious.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Is a thing.
I'm certain it's not normal, but of course we'll ask someone about this who knows a little bit better than us. But the concept of even just being a string player and sticking my fingers in an ice bath before playing,
why would you do that?
Seems very counter to what I'm trying to be able to do.
It seems like adversity training almost.
Yeah.
It's like, here's what it feels like to play with cold fingers. You got to do it anyway. Here's what it feels like to not be able to take a full breath. You could do it anyway because it'll make you appreciate when you can take a full breath.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe that's part of it. But
yes.
Anyway, she's clearly uncomfortable. She's clearly having trouble breathing.
Yes.
And she is also clearly trying to connect with Betty. So she mentions she's got a cat picture, and Hailey's like, "Oh, is that your cat? We had one growing up." And Betty's like, "He's dead."
Moving on.
Moving on.
I was the champ at distraction tactics, though, in my lessons. I always wanted to talk about everything under the sun except what I was doing.
Oh, yeah. Especially when you know that your teacher has certain things that they will just talk about. You ask them about any of those things, and you're guaranteed 15 minutes off.
Yep. Oh, definitely. I was really grateful for this, but my teacher in grad school He's just a really wonderful human being. I think we just got along so well. I would show up to her house and we would talk for like an hour. And then it'd be like, well, we haven't had any lesson yet. Do you want to just stay another hour? That's like the dynamic we had. And it was so, so lovely. I have a very hard time with that type of student in my own experience. I'm more like, okay, like we have to stay on track. I'm sure because it triggers me, because I'm just like so wired that way anyway. And if somebody gets me talking, I can go down that road. But yeah, it's really interesting. Like Betty was having none of it.
Yeah.
She's like, the cat's dead. Go back to what we were doing.
Right. But then they're interrupted because Hailey is getting a call from Rodrigo.
Oh, and she says, looks like Raquel owes me an Americano.
Yeah, so Betty is convinced that Hailey is sleeping with Rodrigo.
Yeah.
We all know that she is not yet.
Yeah, that we know of yet. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that he's calling a zip car a zippy car multiple times.
Yeah.
I love that.
That should catch on. That's a really
Zippy
good
car.
I like that. It's fun.
And I thought it was very nice of him, even though he has this immediate sense of urgency to do a thing. He finds out she's in her lesson and he lets her finish her lesson first.
Yeah.
So that's thoughtful. Good job, Rodrigo.
Yeah, it's a little bit of boundaries.
Yep.
He set them. She did not. So.
And what did he print? What did he do in the copier? I couldn't figure that out.
He was printing the bottom of his thermos, like just copying the bottom of his thermos. It said like Stanley on the bottom.
And he said,
I paused it because I was like, what is he doing?
And he said, awesome, when he picked it up. I was like,
awesome. All right. Yeah.
It's true free spirit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess Hailey finishes her lesson, takes the corset off, and she runs home to go get the zippy car and get ready to go take Rodrigo on this adventure to find Anna Maria.
Yep.
That's their goal. So she runs home. And when she gets home, she sees her roommate Lizzie is there. And Lizzie got a fat check from her uncle's estate.
She's very troubled by it.
And she doesn't know what to do with it.
Yep.
So she's having that kind of like crisis. Should I invest it? What if I die? And
right,
that the money just doesn't get used at all. What a waste that'll be.
Yep. That's a lot. That's a lot to have to think about as a 22-year-old, 23-year-old to come into money and have to figure it out. So that's to be continued. And then we get to one of the pivotal storylines of the episode.
Yeah, this is pretty dark.
It's really dark. Dee Dee is making a home visit to Cynthia's house, and also like that she thanks him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've been running around. It's bar mitzvah season, lots of action." I was like, "Do people do more drugs around bar mitzvah season? Like, who's getting hurt? What does that even mean?" Curious about that. If anybody has answers, I don't know what that.
Yeah,
means.
and who's he dealing to? Is he dealing to children?
Oh,
that's disturbing.
Maybe it's like musicians in bands and stuff are playing a lot more because they're playing a lot of bar mitzvah parties. Like, that's like a big business, like the wedding.
Oh, so they need like painkillers?
Yeah, they need like extra painkillers. But did we know that Dee Dee could deal in fentanyl and oxy until today? No. I did not realize that was something he would just willingly hand out.
Well, what did we think that he was dealing in?
Well, he
just like joints.
Yeah, weed and like I feel like I thought he probably had like oxy, but fentanyl's a whole other story. That's like intense.
Yeah, really intense.
I mean,
very
I guess
dark.
Okay, if we subtract the years and we go back to 2014, maybe it was on the early end of this crisis that we now do actually face.
Oh, no. That crisis has been going on since the early 2000s.
Yeah, but I don't know that I don't know that it was as open, because I can remember going to doctors in 2014 and getting like oxy prescriptions and stuff, and it'd be like really hard to do that these days.
Whoa.
But
I've never taken anything like that
so freely. Oh,
even for like surgery recovery.
Oh, I mean, it's interesting because like my sister, when she's had prescriptions for surgery and stuff, she can't take it because it just makes her ill, physically sick. I did not have that problem, and I can 100% understand why it really shouldn't even be it shouldn't even be in the rotation. It should just not be a thing. It is highly, highly addictive. I have a lot of feelings about that. So this episode, this is really triggering because he literally says to her, you know, I just want you to be careful. I don't want you to get hooked on this stuff, which of course, in foreshadowing of drama, I think we know she's going to have a problem with this. Yeah. She's going to end up having a problem, and we're going to have to watch this difficult thing kind of play out.
Yeah.
But
I have family members who have been addicted. Yeah. And it's a hard road.
It's no joke. That stuff is serious. So we pan over back to Rodrigo and Hailey in the zippy car.
Yeah, so they've gotten wind that Anna Maria is giving a performance at a toxic waste dump, which I don't know.
I just can't.
That seems on brand for her.
Yes.
And they're on the road, and he's telling Hailey what they're planning to do and why he wants to find Anna Maria, and that she's going to rip open the August Memorial Hall like a golden hawk soaring on its path of righteousness. It's very dramatic.
It's so dramatic.
It's so dramatic. And Hailey's trying to talk him down. She's like, this is really masochistic. Yeah. You could literally have anyone you want. What is it about this woman? Yeah. And we find out about he's like a tortured soul, and he doesn't think he can be great without her, and he questions his worth, and he's like talking about how much pressure he's under to try to make life happen out of the orchestra, and he's been doing waffling back and forth, and that like somehow, perhaps in a misguided way, he has centered around this idea that she's the thing that will make it better, when really, I mean, maybe we're leading up to the concept that like, no, the only person who needs to feel responsible for that is him. Right.
But right now he's not in that state of mind. He just doesn't think, he thinks the only way for it to be great is if she's there. So leaning in on the codependency again.
Yeah.
Pretty heavily.
We're here to psychoanalyze all these people.
Yeah, it's happening.
And so they're in the car, and this was really triggering for me because she's obviously got like a GPS on that's giving her directions on how to get to this place. And it'll say turn left in 200 yards or whatever, and he'll be like, okay, Hailey, turn left in about 200 yards. And she's like, I know. Are you going to repeat the directions from the GPS the whole time?
And then like it happens at the end of that scene, and he rewords it so that it doesn't sound exactly like what she said.
Yeah, and she thinks it's cute.
I don't know how to turn that off either. We're just full of distractions today. Sorry, everybody. Okay.
That's okay. But she thinks it's cute.
Yeah.
And I'm like, girl, just wait until you've been with this person for it's going to cease to be cute. Himself. It's going to cease to be cute
very quickly. So funny.
So now Cynthia and Union Bob are having a meeting in her apartment.
That she forgot about,
and she is high as a kite.
Yeah, and she's pouring wine, and it's just like, she's like, yeah, we're talking about important orchestra business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we leave them for the moment, but yeah, this is the situation with Union Bob.
Yeah, we'll come back to them. Boy, will we ever. Being freelance musicians means gigging in lots of different places with very unpredictable lighting situations.
Oh my gosh, yes. How many times have you shown up to a church gig and wondered if you'll actually be able to see the music by showtime?
Many times. Or it's a cocktail hour in a restaurant with ambient mood lighting at best.
We've all been there and have used those alien-looking bendy lights that only light up the top of the page, so that by the bottom of the music, you're sometimes just guessing, or maybe we'll call it being creative. We didn't know it at the time, but the Aria lights could have saved us lots of eye strain and unplanned improvisation.
Yes, and with a rechargeable battery that lasts 8 hours, you'll never have to carry backup AA's in your case. You'll just charge it up at home and take the Aria light to your gig. The battery will even hold a charge for years between uses, not that you would go that long.
Thank you so much to Aria Lights for their support this season. Please check them out at arialights.com. Located in a historic mansion in Tacoma Park, Maryland, you might get the impression that the team at Potter Violins are as formal as the breathtaking building that they work in. But when you go inside, instead you'll find the most relatable, skilled, and friendly staff.
Yes, the people at Potter's are what really make it a special place. I love visiting because I know that whoever I work with is not going to make me feel like I'm crazy or just being picky. They're kind of like your favorite bartender. They're great listeners who give you what you need without judgment.
Yes, their technicians are not only super talented, creative, and resourceful, they take the time to collaborate with you so that the process of getting your instrument at its best really feels like a partnership.
So if you're in the area, definitely stop by and introduce yourself to Chris, Rob, Kimberly, Derek, Jim, Melissa, and the whole team, or visit potterviolins.com to find what you need online.
It's so fitting then that their shop is in this beautiful old house because the staff at Potter's really makes it feel like home.
Season 3 is sponsored by the Arc Rest. You know, Liz and I are always being asked about our Arc Rests, and we're happy to share how much we love them. The freedom of movement has been life-changing for me.
Me too. And I love how using the Arc Rest allows my instrument to vibrate fully. And depending on how my body's feeling, I can also change the placement of the bass.
Although Aaron and Tigran started the company in their home workshop, they've come a long way, continuing to innovate by experimenting with harder and softer woods, and even new materials like fiberglass.
There are basses for violin, viola, and even for small fractional instruments. And there are foam pads of different thicknesses, so you can find one that fits your body or instrument perfectly.
And the guys over at ArcRest are sharing a special discount code for our listeners. Use the code VIOLAcentric for 10% off anything on their site.
Yes, check out their offerings at thearcrest.com. That's THEARCREST.com. And don't forget to use the code VIOLAcentric. And Hailey and Rodrigo arrive at the toxic waste site, and the concert has been disbanded already. They've missed their chance, but they meet this lovely person working there named Eric, who's
I love him.
hacking up a lung.
He rolls up on his golf cart. He's wearing a hazmat suit, and he says, "Judging by your haircuts, you're here to see that classical music freak." It's like, what's that supposed to mean? Haley's got like such a basic
normal haircut.
Normal haircut. And Rodrigo,
Well, he has his,
he does have a rat
his
tail.
rat tails.
Okay.
Yeah. I love that he says, even though it was disbanded when the cops came, what I got from the show was pretty nuanced and theatrical.
He's a critic.
He's a critic. And then why is he going to get fired? He's like, oh, I'll probably get fired. Maybe because he let the concert happen? I don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know enough about Eric. We need to know
I
more.
love the comic relief that he provided.
But he is also
was
hacking
funny.
up a lung, and then he's like, it's dangerous here. You shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Poor Eric.
Yeah, I'm sure they're safe. They were on the other side of the fence.
Yeah. That's the protective barrier.
Otherwise, they would need a hazmat suit.
So it's back to square one on their search for Anna Maria.
Yeah, they haven't found her yet, but they're back on the road.
And then we get to the most cringe-worthy moment of the entire episode. Maybe the entire
really rough.
series, actually.
Yeah.
This is by far my most cringy scene to watch.
Yeah. So we're back at Cynthia's apartment. Union Bob is still there. He is trying to talk business.
Lowering base salary for musicians is going to be the big deal. Real battleground. He's talking about lots of things. Pension and health and...
Yeah, they're going to go into negotiations, so they have to be like on the same page. What are our priorities?
Yeah, and
this
all
is really important.
Yeah, real issues like wedges between older and younger musicians. It got me thinking. I was like, this is good stuff to bring up, like even in this scene and story.
And Cynthia's like, wait, stop talking. Can you turn to the side again?
I'm getting so freaked out. I'm like dropping things right now. Keep going.
Yes. So she's like, can you turn to the side? Your profile is actually really, really cute. I've been noticing you from across the orchestra. And she's like hitting on him.
Cute little piccolo.
So unprofessional.
Oddly cute and witty. And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, clearly not expecting this at all, not quite sure where this is going.
And eventually she just asks him why they've never hooked up in a much cruder way.
Yes.
And he goes, isn't it obvious? Yeah. Yeah, she's clearly not thinking super straight because she's high on fentanyl and has been drinking and is perhaps filling a type of void.
Yeah. Something. She's like, maybe you should get your piccolo behind me. She is very inappropriate.
It was like, yeah, it was watching. It's so funny because she's so reserved through the whole season, right? She's just this like proper, beautiful, classy, like elegant woman. Mm-hmm. Obviously, she's in a relationship with Thomas, but like, you know, even that doesn't feel. She's not like. But there was this other side of her that came out.
Yeah.
Under the influence that cringy.
It was very cringy.
Because you're looking at it and you're like, no, don't go there with Bob. Don't go there with Union Bob. Don't go there with Union Bob.
He's an innocent victim.
He is.
In this situation.
He is an innocent victim in this situation.
Yeah, so don't do drugs, kids.
Oh, drugs are bad. Yeah, really, really disturbing scene. At least we didn't have to see too much.
No.
We didn't even have to see them kiss, I don't think, right? Oh, well, later on.
Yeah. Okay. So Rodrigo and Hailey, they're still on the hunt for Anna Maria. Yep. They're looking for her on Grindr. I was like, what is Only Bears Allowed? Am I old? Oh. It's Grindr, right?
Only Bears Allowed would be similar to Grindr.
Okay.
I would think.
Anyway, so...
But also, that doesn't make any sense.
Right?
To my knowledge of what Grindr is, I don't think that makes sense, but whatever.
That's outside of the purview of this podcast, I think.
Yeah, that's not... We don't need to discuss.
I think we're expected to know that.
Where have they gone? Do we know what town they're in?
Are they in Fishtown?
So this is the thing is like Fishtown is a neighborhood in Philly. So I was thinking maybe they're in Philly. That's like what was in my head. Because they have a car and they left New York. They wouldn't need a hotel if they were not in New York.
Right.
But maybe
so they're in the hotel.
Another Fishtown. I don't know.
They're getting a room. There's only one available. And so of course they have to share.
Yeah. And Rodrigo's like, it's fine. I'm not going to sleep anyway. Yeah. I don't sleep much. And then he asks very specifically about Toblerone.
Yes, he wants a Toblerone. I feel him in this moment. Like when you have a craving for something and you're like, man, I could really go for a Toblerone right now.
Who knows Toblerone except that it's often found in hotel rooms?
And in the airport. Yes. You buy it in the snack shop.
It's like never
store.
Something you have in your own house, but when you're out, you gotta get a Toblerone.
No. Does anybody stock Toblerone in their house? No.
I don't.
You buy it?
Yeah, no. Definitely not me.
In a hotel.
Yes, in a hotel. But yeah, we leave them without seeing their setup in the hotel room and head back to Lizzie, who's now enlisted a group of friends, which seems like a bad idea to ask what she should do with all this money.
I wrote, is consulting her brain trust about the inheritance.
Yeah. I think she called it that, right? She called the brain trust.
Oh, did she?
Something like that. She called it something like, yeah, I forget the way she put it at the beginning, but, you know, these guys are like, buy a house and flip it. And the other one's like, get an alpaca farm. I'm like, these are terrible ideas. Yeah,
they're like, there's a bong in the room and lots of alcohol and they're
super thinking straight. Yeah. But her friend from childhood, Evan, who also has a lot of money, he's there to kind of be like a voice of reason, I think. Mm-hmm. And he's talking to her about, but he said something like how she should be careful with the amount of money she has, that, you know, you could end up never doing anything with your life. And he said something like, but if you know what you want to do with your life, like this is great then. And she got really upset and she left.
Yeah. So this was a really different way that we're seeing Lizzie. Like in the past, we've seen her very confident. She could not give, anything about whatever situation. She does not care. Mm-hmm. She'll do anything. She'll tattoo you in her living room. Yeah, she'll help you like get rid of the con artist oboe player that's in your house. But yeah, she seems oddly like insecure here. She doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, she's clearly uncomfortable about the amount of money, and I guess we'll find out more about that in the next episode, because this is the last we see of Lizzie for this episode. Yeah. So kind of leaves things hanging. I love that Rodrigo's in the bathtub with all those pillows.
Yeah, so he did the gentlemanly thing and he slept in the bathtub.
Keeping it appropriate, and Hailey's fast asleep, but he is not, because he's found where he thinks Anna Maria is.
Right, there's been a sighting.
In Fishtown.
Yeah. Yeah, so he gets her up, and they go out to this like unhoused encampment.
Force her to get up, yeah. But before we get to the encampment,
we see the after effects of the Union Bob and Cynthia.
And he's singing Sia Chandelier at the top of his lungs.
How did they come to this? Like, they make this decision. Like, well, it could be like, Uptown Funk, or it could be Sia, like Chandelier or whatever. I don't know what else was around 2014.
He called it a post-coital caprese omelet.
I know. He said coital.
Cringe. So much cringe. Never ever do you want to hear post-coital.
No. No.
He is clearly just on cloud 9.
Yeah.
Having gotten hooked up with Cynthia. Cynthia seems less than enthused.
She's less than enthused, but she's not like...
She's kind.
Yeah, she's not super duper regretful or off-put.
Yeah,
it seems.
I mean, she's not putting that on him. I think she's probably thinking to herself, "What the heck did I do? This was a bad idea." But she's very like open with him. She's like just kind of hanging out, and then he leaves to go get his daughter from college, who he's relieved is not going into music.
Not a musician.
Except he does reference how sometimes playing his little piccolo has worked out for him.
Yeah.
Gross.
Gross. Why couldn't he be like a bass player or something?
Because it wouldn't be as cringy.
Yeah.
Would not be as cringy. This was particularly extra cringe. It's going to be an interesting scene when they're back at work.
Yeah. I wonder if he's going to be cool about it or not.
No way.
No way. It doesn't seem like it.
All right. Here we go.
Rodrigo and Hailey make it to Fishtown. They've tracked her down. Mm-hmm. They've tracked Anna Maria down. And she's living in a tent. And she has lots of decorations, by the way.
She has spent a lot of time cultivating that tent. Yes.
So they walk into the tent, and there are lots of protest signs in French. And I wrote, I think this is the spot.
Yeah, me too.
This is going to be
and they didn't even seem to notice all the signs, but I was like, that's definitely hers, right?
Right. So Rodrigo is having a panic attack. He does not want to go through with it. He's having cold feet. Hailey hits the nail on the head, though, and she said, this is about Rodrigo and not the symphony.
Yes.
It's something that he needs to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suspect some kind of closure forthcoming with him and Anna Maria. Whether or not that ends in disaster for his job is another question. But I think he's like has to overcome this like hold that he has given her over him. It's it's really interesting. Has to face his fears and go in the tent room.
Yep, the tent room. He asked her to stay, though. He's like, Hailey, could you stay, please? Because it always gets a little crazy what does he say? Crazy.
He's adorable.
Yeah. So he goes in, she's there. He is on a mission to convince her to solo with the orchestra. Mm-hmm. They have a history together, and he's trying to sell Sibelius, which clearly has some significance to them.
Yep.
Both as a couple.
Yep.
And after much cajoling.
Yeah. Because she's at first, she's like, I don't do that anymore. I don't go to those concert halls. I don't play for those people. Like, she was very adamant in her artistic expression being constricted by doing so. But he does. He convinces her, and she says true art must transcend any prejudice, and agrees to do it. So Crazy Lady is going to play Sibelius with the orchestra.
Yeah. I can't wait to see that.
And it sends them into a fit of passion.
Right. But there's a catch. There's a hitch. She's wearing a chastity belt to preserve her passion for the stage.
She's like, I could take it off after the concert.
Well, there's something to look forward to.
I mean, but Hailey hears them kind of like getting in the moment together and shows up at Alex's door. Just goes after
lucky
it.
Alex. Good for Hailey.
Yes.
Good for Hailey. So she jumps Alex.
She jumps him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where we leave things for the season finale.
Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh, what could possibly happen?
Oh my goodness. It's gonna be a wild ride to the finish line.
Yes. Looking forward to it.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for listening today, and thanks also to our season sponsors, Arkrest, Potter Violins, and Aria Lights.
Another thanks to Alto Clef Gifts, where you can purchase Viola-centric shirts and mugs, and a variety of other fun items featuring our beloved Alto Clef.
If you loved today's episode, consider writing us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And if you want the chance to hang with us and have access to behind-the-scenes audio and video recordings, check out our new Patreon.
Our episodes are edited and produced by Emily McMahon and Liz O'Hara Stahr.
The Viola-centric theme music was written and produced by JP Wogeman and is performed by Steph and myself.
Thanks again for listening. Let's talk soon.